funny, work out loud is a term that has a bunch of, you can look it up on the internet and it's out there. There's a whole thing. And essentially it's based on a couple of principles that the work we're doing is valuable to others. People can learn if they can see us doing it. That work, even before we think it's finished, often has value to others, which is where the out loud thing comes from. If somebody sees you working, they can have that modeled for them. They also see the product of your work in progress. And often, even though you haven't finished it, polished it yet, it hasn't been approved yet, that content has value to other people. And so a model where you're in a trusted group and you're able to let people see things as they emerge in draft form, and the real effectiveness gain that can come from that. That's a big chunk of this work out loud, work transparently, work like a network thing. Now, in a funny way, when I think we're lucky as consultants because we've been doing this physically for a long, long time. We're typically invited to bring a bunch of people into some space in a client's office. And boy, have I worked in some spaces. I worked in a grand boardroom in Edinburgh looking over St. Andrew's Square with two fireplaces. That was fun. Mostly they're not like that. I've also worked in a parking garage underneath an office in Oakland where we had long orange extension cords to folding tables with a bunch of computers set up on them. So we're used to working in all sorts of different spaces. And we tend to create a kind of project room, team room, war room. And we tend to put lots of things on the wall right away. So we use flip charts, and then the greatest technological innovation for me until the modern digital workplace were the 3M sticky charts, that you could actually just stick right on the wall without pieces of tape. That was one of the greatest technologies for me for a long time. So we create a workroom, and you think about what happens in that workroom. One is you have all sorts of stuff on the wall that isn't finished, it's in process. And it's on the wall so everybody working on that project can see it. But it's different to see a bunch of stuff written down in process than to see a 8.5 by 11 typed page at 23 pages. So without talking about working out loud, without talking about the benefit of showing our work, without talking about how content half done is often really valuable to certain people at certain times, we were living that in those physical rooms. Use small stickies, big stickies. Everybody's sitting around the table. There's conversations going on that you can sort of hear. And one of the things that when I was running projects that I was quite lucky, I can listen to a couple conversations at one time, and I could sometimes interject myself and stop something, redirect something, fix a problem before 2 or 3 people spend 3 or 4 hours going and fixing it from scratch. So in a funny way, we have the advantage of having worked out loud for 20 years, some of us 30 years. And what's happening is the digital workplace is catching up to that and is allowing some of those really leading practices to be embodied digitally when everybody isn't in that war room together, when everybody can't see that same flip chart, when everybody can't jump up with a sticky and just say, well, what if we thought about this way rather than that way? And so we're seeing the digital workplace catch up in its ability to let us do that when people aren't all in the same place. Again, it's really the focus is the work. And then if we say there's a bunch of work that needs to happen where everybody can't be in the same place, what are all the things we need to do so the work is good, so the work is purposeful, so the work is meaningful? And that's where the digital workplace comes back into play, and it's finally catching up and giving us the ability to do that.